are in
You
the
are in the
zone.
zone.
All right. Well, our very first episode. How do you feel about that, swag man?
Yeah, it is amazing. Finally, we are launching. Thank you to all our followers, everyone that's donated on the GoFundMe, the sponsors that are coming on board. It's amazing to see so much support for what has turned from an idea and just a concept, putting it out there, and the response has just been overwhelming. It's amazing.
I mean, an idea that started like a week ago, and now suddenly we have how many hundreds of followers?
It
I've
is
got a freaking co-host.
it is ridiculous the amount of following that we now have for In the Zone, and I'll give the exact numbers here. 220 followers and 113 likes. That's for a podcast that hasn't even launched its first podcast to have 200 people go, yes, I'm going to follow this.
Not only that, but businesses that have gone, hell yeah, we'll sponsor you guys, all right,
That's
and
it.
blindly as well.
Blindly gone. We love the idea. People love the concept. It's not just about traffic control. It's about the whole entire industry. We're going to cover all sorts of topics from traffic control to work health safety, the new laws that are coming in, the old laws that are there. What's working? What's not working? What changes do you think need to be made? Vasting from mine sites to local work to politics to everyday life. We're going to cover all ranges. So there's a bit for everybody. This isn't just for you construction workers. This is for everyone.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's what I like. The sponsors are coming on board. You know, Swag HQ, they're awesome. Run by a friend of mine. His name's Quinton. It's someone with a goal. As simple as that. Swag. Someone with a goal. If you've got a business idea, you know, we started with a podcast idea. Without Quinton's help, I'd be struggling with what to do and how to market and all that. He taught me how to do everything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's someone with a passion, entrepreneurship, ideas. If you are someone with a goal and you have a passion for something, that's all Swag is. It's just your passion turned as Swag. You're someone with a goal. And if you want to jump on board on that, we're always constantly chucking in the links to those pages. There's a daily email that goes out, some coaching that's there as well. He's got his own subscription base. He's between the three platforms, over 3,000 people already following that have subscribed to all these channels between all 3 and 4. So jump on board, subscribe to the Daily Swag newsletter, and you'll start to see what Swag's all about. It's not just for those in business, it's just for anyone in general with a goal. If you've got a passion for something, that is Swag. You are someone with a goal.
And how do we find the Swag newsletter?
The Swag newsletter is simple. There's a link that's in our bio and on our post. There's also a QR code that's been created. To scan the QR or jump on the link, chuck in your email. You can even get some merchandise by clicking on one of the QR codes that are there. Just scan that or click the link and you can get yourself a Swag hoodie or a Swag jumper with sleeveless or a t-shirt. And there's some other cool merch that's coming out as well. He's also supported the page with his sponsorships. It's awesome. It is really awesome to see the support coming in. We've also got Simo local. If you're in Perth in Lakelands, the Simo's Butchers. He's amazing. He's jumped on board as well. Get all your fresh cuts down at Lakelands.
Yeah, and here's me who found absolutely bugger all sponsors for the show.
There's a few that have sent in inquiries. Give a shout out. If you've got a bad back, check out Lakelands Chiro. See Melissa. Melissa is really good at what she does down at the Lakelands Chiro there. I was just there this morning. So yeah, give them a call if you're in the Mandurah Lakelands area. Go check them out.
Well, there we go. If I lived in Perth, I know I'd be there. I'm 6'4", so that comes with that comes with all sorts of back problems.
Oh, that's it, mate. So let's get into it. A bit about me. I'm Swag Man. Obviously, as you can tell, I'm part of swag as well.
Mhm.
But I come from a construction FIFO industry and traffic control industry. I started 18, 19 years old. I'm 34 now. And I started just doing FIFO, started as a housekeeper, just doing all round. Just I was working, doing all the bedrooms that are out there on site.
Yeah.
And then I moved into the kitchen, started doing bits and pieces in the kitchen, working on the dishes in there, and
Mm.
finally got enough tickets to the point where I could become a TA, and I've just built my career around that. Uh, started getting piles of tickets in all sorts of areas from operations and civil construction, and also went and did my Cert 4 in work health safety. So, I thought we could
Yeah.
make a change
Yeah.
in the safety field, and I thought, I'm sick of us just preaching it at every toolbox we got about safety. Why not be that person that can effectively make the change and be that safety guy? It's for the people, by the people, essentially what this podcast is about and what I wanted to do in my safety field. Uh, so it's been up and downs the whole way, but yeah, I moved into traffic control as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, I never wanted to be a crew leader or anything like that, but I started working on the bat, and then from there went and got a TMA ticket, so that the lovely trailer mounted attenuator, and just sitting there all harnessed up for the next 9 hours, 10 hours, being the crash test dummy.
I forgot that WA still has the old trailer-mounted attenuator
Yeah,
legal.
yeah.
Here in New South Wales, it's not anymore. We have to
Oh,
have
really?
it's purely truck-mounted attenuators. I mean,
Yeah.
still the
Well,
same acronym,
we've
but
got
yeah.
the truck mounted as well.
Mm.
So that they still call it the trailer mount. Don't know why it's truck mounted attenuator. Push a button and the claw comes down.
Mm-hmm. The old
So
scorpion
I've
tail.
luckily not been hit in the 6 years that I was doing traffic control. I've never been
Yeah,
hit,
yeah.
luckily. But yeah, I've just moved around. I'm a married man, got 2 kids, well, technically 3, but I don't get to see the 30. He now lives in the eastern states with his mum, so don't get to see him as much. But yeah, that's me. Been married now for the last 4 years. I say married, not happily married, but married. Happy wife, happy life. I love being married. No, it's honestly, it's a lot of fun. People said I was crazy.
Mm.
Um, but you know what? When you love somebody and you want to be with them the rest of your life, and you know that they're the one, you got to put a ring on
Well,
it.
you make it work, don't you?
You make it work. You make the ends meet. We've had our ups and downs as most couples do, but it is what it is. That's married life. But what about yourself?
Uh, well, I'm in a similar sort of situation. I am a full-time TC, which, as anyone in the industry knows, is like fucking hen's teeth. Um, I work for I work for a company that takes pretty good care of me, so yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I started traffic control about 10 years ago, simply as a way to put food on the table. After moving to Sydney, because my partner at that point was pregnant with my second oldest daughter. Well, what else is there? I've been through the ranks, started off on the bat. Back in the day, I started in construction in Cooma, over here in New South Wales. Hell, before that, I was even working at in an abattoir. So
Oh,
if you've got any
nice.
questions about that, feel free to ask as well. That was an interesting job, but
See the blood
yeah,
and guts every day.
yeah. One of my duties
Careful, we'll
was to
have
be the
Tash
guy.
Peterson come after us now.
That's it. Cancelled.
You're
Cancelled on the first
cancelled
episode.
first day. It's
No,
gonna
it
be
was
protesting.
picket signs for my wicked rhymes, as
I love it.
Eminem said.
Yeah.
She'll be outside my house. I don't even think she knows where Campbelltown is, and she'll be outside my house.
Oh, 100%. I think she left WA for a while and she's come all the way over to the eastern states and then they didn't want her, so she's come back again.
Oh shit! Hang on, I think I hear someone knocking on the door. I think it's her.
Oh no, hang on, run. Oh, I love it. So obviously
But
you're married, children?
mhm, I'm married. I've scored a few more children than you have. I have 5 kids now.
Wow.
The
He's hit the
youngest one
milestone.
is bloody oath.
That's amazing, surrounded us.
You know what? Actually, weirdly enough, one of my kids is the exact opposite to one of yours. She is a girl,
Yeah.
and her mum has taken her from the eastern states to Western Australia.
Oh, I love
So
it.
so I don't get to see her because of the exact opposite. It's like perfectly opposite.
Perfectly opposite on the score.
Or should I say perfectly opposite?
Yes, indeed. That's insane.
But
So
yeah.
how this podcast idea, how long was it in your mind for? For me, I've been thinking about it for a while and I was just like, oh, you should get around to it and start putting it out. And just randomly came across your post saying, I want to start a podcast. Like, how long was it to actually?
Well, I've been cooking the idea for quite a few months, maybe even a year actually, because I'm a big fan of Audible, right? Which is going to be another platform that I'm going to upload this podcast to at some point. But I love listening to audiobooks on the drive into work because quite often my commute is an hour or more. I got the old work truck. Plug in the phone and just listen to audiobooks. Eventually that evolved into podcasts. So my curiosity went, all right, I'm listening to podcasts about all these other things. My absolute favorite is spy podcasts.
Spy podcast.
Spy shit. I love my spy shit. But anyway, one day I went, you know what? I'm going to look it up. I'm going to try and Google it and see if there are any construction industry podcasts. Just with
Nothing.
people. Yeah, exactly. Just people telling random stories about stuff that's happened in the construction industry, or if there's any construction industry news podcasts or anything like that. So I Googled it and there's nothing.
There's
And I
nothing.
thought, you know what?
We're the first.
I am going to do this shit. So about a week ago, I eventually went, this was after months of doing like research and everything, trying to figure out how easy it would actually be. And then my my dad's ex-wife started a podcast of her own. And yeah, there's nothing negative there, so we're all still friends. And I listened to it. I listen to it quite regularly, so I went, you know what? Angela knows her shit. Let's ask if she knows. You know, let's pick her brain about how I'm going to do this. And she went, it's actually easier than you'd think. So I thought, all right, cool. I'm getting started. I'm getting started this week. All right. So I put the post up on a certain Facebook page, and then you got in touch with me. So yeah, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. And in under a week, we've put the concept out there, and the followers of every second of the minute of the day, I was just refreshing, just watching these numbers go and crawling higher and higher. I was just like, wow.
And it's like, I'm trying to work and my phone's just going ping,
Blowing up.
ping, ping, ping. And I'm like, oh my God, is this guy still watching the numbers go up?
That's exactly what was happening.
All it is just Swagman going, oh, we're at 199. Oh, we're at 200. Oh, we're at 206. And I'm like,
crawling
okay,
and crawling.
cool.
It's getting higher and higher. It is, yeah, it's been insane. It's a roller coaster journey. 220, 113 likes, still crawling with the numbers, getting higher and higher. And yeah, it's great. And just while we're on that topic of traffic control, we'll jump into it in a second as well. One of our other sponsors that we do have that I forgot to mention is iHeartRadio. So we have iHeartRadio and we've got music as well that are also
Yeah,
sponsored by
yeah.
iHeartRadio.
Well, the music's actually sponsored by something called Upbeat.
Upbeat.
Yeah,
There you go.
upbeat.io.
Upbeat.
So if you need any backing tracks for your podcast or for your YouTube videos, go there. They do license free music. Even the free license
Yeah.
is fantastic, but the paid license where you get unlimited access to their tracks, because the free one you can only download 3 tracks in a month and you only get access to 30% of the library.
Yeah, okay.
The
So the
paid one,
sponsorship with the GoFundMe, we
yeah,
can put towards that as well.
yeah. Which, by the way, again, a big, big thank you to the GoFundMe
That is that
donors, because you guys have you've actually paid for all of this,
yes.
and you
If
guys
it
are
wasn't for
what.
you guys, it would be an absolute out of the pocket ourselves going, how are we going to do this?
Yeah,
um,
we'd still be running on the free stuff, which frankly isn't all that great.
No, it's great to see that so many people have jumped on board. Thank you to the people that have donated privately through GoFundMe and just random
Hmm.
people, my friends, family coming up to me going, "Hey, I'll chuck you some money at the end of the week as well." So
Shit, that's all
yeah,
right. Yeah.
thanks to them as well. Your support is muchly appreciated. We can't do this without you guys. It is for you guys. So it's not just for our own personal gain and enjoyment. This is for your enjoyment as well. And while we're on that topic, probably play some background music. And when we come back, we'll jump right into it and start hitting the traffic control side of it. What it's like to be in traffic control, how you get started, the ups and downs, and
Hmm.
how it all eventuates from your training.
All right.
Love it. Love
Fantastic track.
it.
Again, upbeat.io. Fantastic website.
Love their music. Love
Hmm.
it. It's actually not bad. They have some awesome soundtracks there.
Yeah.
Traffic control. Let's get into it. Now, the main thing people reckon is, oh yeah, I'm going to get into traffic control. I'm going to get a full time job. Yeah, good luck. Unless you've got the
Hmm.
experience, it's just not going to happen. It's
Uh,
very rare that you'll get full time, and even the experienced traffic controllers here in WA, they struggle to get full time. It's not something that's handed out willy nilly, is it?
no, no. I'll tell you this much. It's taken me 10 years to finally find a company that's taking on full-time traffic controllers. And even so, they only have 4 of us out of 16 TCs, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last company I worked for, I believe they've got roughly 500 on the books. And
Shoo.
the only full timers, and even then, they're not on full time contracts. It's what they call casual full time, and that's the crew leaders, where they get to take company car home, um, and that's pretty
Mm,
much it. They're
mm.
still on the casual full time rate. The only full timers that I do know of are office staff, and they get given obviously full time contracts. Have you ever earned $200,000 in a year doing traffic control? Because I know certainly in my time, I've not even come close to 200,000.
Well, not me personally, but I believe there are a few girls on TikTok who claim to have found something similar, which
I'd like to know which company's offering that because I'd certainly be like, hey, 200,000. How many employees you got paying that?
yeah,
uh,
exactly.
that's
And
crazy.
then you watch their actual videos and where they where they sum up what they've earned, and they're like, oh, $400 for 8 hours work, and I'm like, firstly, that's before tax, isn't it? And secondly,
800.
yeah, no, I don't believe that.
Ah, dude, I think the most I ever got paid on traffic control at the highest was like $32. So 32.50. As
Mm,
an average, I think it was roughly around the in between 24 and $28 mark. 28.50 maybe.
yeah,
And then you get some side perks where they tell you, oh, but after a certain amount of time, you get time and a half, or if it's a public holiday, you get this and that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but then the issues I found with that, with some companies I worked for as well, was you don't get paid correctly, and you're chasing them up constantly to try and get the correct pay. So it's
Mm,
not all fun and games. Yeah, the way it works is you go in, you want to be a traffic controller, you find an registered RTO, registered training organisation that will do the traffic control course. It usually runs for about 3 days.
yeah, yeah.
Every RTO sort of varies. The ones that I am aware of are 3 to 4 days. And in that, they give you the bare basics and understanding of traffic control. They'll teach you sort of how to read a TGS, what a taper looks like. And then you might go out and actually learn some practical stuff, but even then, it's very basic.
And
Um,
even then, they'll pass just about anyone. And
Pretty
then you're like,
much.
oh, come on, half of these guys are the dumbest C words out there. Why did you give them licenses?
Yeah, it's amazing who they'll give a license to. It's pretty much like a cash grab at the moment.
Mm,
It's personally, if I was a RTO, straight up, if you can't understand English, you can't write English, or you can't understand the basics of what is happening,
yeah.
don't help them because you're gonna put them in the field to kill themselves. And we've lost enough traffic controllers in this industry now to last a lifetime. And personally,
Mm.
I haven't seen anything change. It's if anything, it's gone backwards. It's getting worse. Um,
Well, yeah. I
there's
mean, our industry is based very heavily on things like communication. Um, so if you can't communicate with the rest of your team because there's a language barrier, yeah, you get what I'm getting at. There's going to
yeah,
be a problem.
yeah. And to put some context in it, it's not an easy job. It's not as simple as, and I got to ask this question earlier today before we came on air. Um, but don't you just hold a lollipop sign? And I was like, well, no, because before you even get to site, it's the getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, if you're a crew leader, and Cranky, you're probably best at explaining this, but from a WA
Yeah.
side of it, I'll try and do my best. And I've watched them do this. Crew leaders get up at 6, they come into the yard, and they'll actually, a good crew leader will go through his entire TGS plan, see the team members he's got on for the day,
Mm,
and not only get his work ute ready and check his work ute to make sure that all the signs are there,
yeah.
but then he's chasing up the staff as well to make sure the staff are going to be there, who he's got on his team based on the job itself. So if the job is big and they can see that they've got 3 greenies, they're going to go, well, hang on, I need a few more experienced people because
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
X, Y, Z. And that's where it comes into it. You're getting up at 6, you get out to site by, say, 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then you've actually got to set that site up and be ready. Now, sometimes you
Mm,
get in there at 6, be leaving the yard at 6:30 to be out on and setting up that site for the next 2.5 to 3 hours because it's such a big site. Putting
correct.
in
Yeah.
tapers, putting up the signs. In the meantime, you've got every Bob, Jill, and Karen swearing their box off at you because you've told them to go do a detour. But what they're not seeing is
Mm,
we're not trying to inconvenience you. We've been set up by the council. They've given us a permit. The client said, hey, we need traffic control. We've just gone and done our job.
yeah.
We
Exactly.
can't change it. And that's where people also look at it as well. They go, oh, but why have you done this? It's like, look, we're following the permit. The permit says we have to do it XYZ way.
Exactly. It's what a lot of people don't seem to understand is that we're actually there to make things easier for you rather than
Make it
inconvenience you.
harder.
Sure, the roadworks themselves are an inconvenience, but we are there to lessen that. Like nobody likes waiting in a queue. No one likes waiting at the stop bat. Well, I can assure you, no one likes holding the stop bat either.
Yeah, 8, 9 hours of sitting there holding a stop bat
Oh,
with a 15, 20-minute lunch break in between and then back on the bat again.
l- l-
It's
listen, my
rain, hail, or
greatest.
shine. Unfortunately, that's what we get paid to do is stand there. So while you're snugged up in your car, just remember if it's hailing and there's a thunderstorm
Hmm.
outside, unless the client has stopped, just think of the traffic controllers who are out there working still, who have to still
Yeah,
work through that climate.
exactly. You're in a car. You got a roof over your head. The only thing the traffic controller has protecting themselves from the rain and lightning is a rain jacket, and that's not going to
And
help.
no, you can't hold an umbrella before you go, well, why don't you hold an umbrella? You can't. It interferes with the job. Then you're holding one hand on the umbrella while trying to turn a bat, then trying to talk on the radio. So no, you cannot use an umbrella. It is not as simple as let's jump out, get an umbrella, and they'll be fine. It definitely doesn't work like
Well, actually, if you're a guy like me and you have hands the size of dirt bin lids, um,
that.
you can actually hold the umbrella and the bat at the same time, but
Just
it
duct
takes a
tape
lot
it.
of practice.
Yeah. And I don't know what it's like over there, but they don't allow you to sit down over here. So even when
Same,
it's
same.
quiet, you can't sit down.
Mm,
If you go, oh, but the street's quiet, there's no one around. You're working in a rural area, you might see one car the whole day.
mm.
You still have to stand there and hold the bat. You can't sit down and just go, well, there's no cars, no one's watching. The one time that car does come, you're sitting down, then you got to quickly stand up and go, stop.
Because, and I can tell you this from experience, from watching somebody do it a few weeks ago on my very job site. If you sit down with the stop bat, that car's going to go straight past you. They are not going to see
Yeah.
you, and they're just going to either that or they're just not going to take you seriously at all. And that's what got this guy kicked off my site.
Yeah, yeah, it is one of the most dangerous jobs out there alongside of truck driving and heavy vehicle
Hmm.
pilots. Hats off to those heavy vehicle pilots as well. Another job that I've done personally. It is not an easy job. And to all the truck drivers as well, you are doing an awesome job out there, putting up with all the
Absolutely.
crap
Yeah.
of the lovely local city people who don't know how to merge or understand that you've got 40 tons, 80 tons worth of cargo on the back and you can't stop on a dime. You guys put up with a lot. You're doing an amazing job. Keep on doing it. So hats off to you
Absolutely.
guys.
Just last night, actually driving home, I think I told you, Swagman, I had a pretty long day yesterday.
Yeah.
Sun's going down, and I'm heading home. I'm on the final stretch towards my ramp, which is one of the last ramps in Sydney off the motorway. And I hear next to me this air horn sound. I knew there was truck and dog in the middle lane. I was in the left lane. Well, this little guy in this fucking Toyota Corolla hatchback has decided that the gap in front of the truck is specially for him.
Oh no.
I'm like, listen here, you dumbass mother. Um, that gap's not for you.
Yeah, no.
That gap is there so that people don't die when the truck needs to brake suddenly.
Yeah, people don't understand it. It doesn't take 2 seconds for a truck to stop. It actually, they got to come down a lot of gears before they come to a complete stop. It
Mm-hmm.
is insane. And I'm sure at some point we'll get some truck drivers on our podcast as well that can tell their horror stories that they've seen.
Absolutely,
Um,
yeah.
the road is not a safe place. Anyone working in the main roads industry or working on the roads, hats off to you guys because it's not an easy job like people put up with.
Perfectly, yeah.
It certainly is not an easy job for traffic control. So if you're looking to get into traffic control, just remember you are going to work long hours. You'll work in every single kind of element unless that client stops or it's deemed unsafe to the point you've got a tornado on top of you. Most clients will work through the rain. They will not stop.
Yeah.
Which means you've got to continue on working unless it is completely deemed unsafe by your crew leader, which 9 times out of 10, I haven't had a crew leader yet turn around and go, stop work, it's raining. Unfortunately, you're working in all sorts of elements for I would say minimal to it's not the best pay, it could be a lot better. Um, and you are putting your life on the line. Just remember, every action you're doing out there is your life. Holding a stop at in the middle of the traffic is putting your life on the line. So make sure you've got an escape route.
Yeah,
Don't turn your back on traffic, and make sure you're on an angle that you can actually escape from. Because if you're square on standing there and you don't have an escape route, well, you've got nowhere to go if something goes wrong, and it does happen. And the deaths that we've had over the years are proof, data proof that it does happen.
yeah, a lot of them could have been prevented
Yeah,
by simple things like that. Um, and when you say escape route, you mean that escape route can't be between two parked cars or anything like that. That can actually
exactly.
cause you more problems than you'd expect. And this is one of the many reasons why our industry doesn't allow mobile phones,
Yeah,
because
that's
you
the
need
other
to be,
biggest problem.
yeah. You, if you're in a busy area, you absolutely need to be there looking forward. Yes, it's a boring job. It's boring as shit sometimes standing on that bat. But let me tell you what, TikTok is not going to save your life as much as paying attention is going to save your life.
Yeah. Sitting there scrolling on Facebook or going, oh, well, I'll join traffic control and just watch a movie when it's quiet.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm.
that's the quickest way, one, to lose your job. And number two, your life will come to a very quick end at a sudden second. Even if it is a quiet street, something can go wrong. Your environment is also a factor in
Mm.
that whole situation, not just vehicles and other people and pedestrians. You've got, if you're working in a rural area, it's snake season. Snakes are going to come out, they're going to have a look. And if you're too busy on your phone, well, before you know it, you've got a snake right between your legs going, okay, you look like lunch.
Yeah. Yeah, not even in a rural setting. If you're in the
No,
city
even in the
as well,
city.
I
Yeah.
mean, like say in Sydney here in the western suburbs, we get the eastern brown snake
Oh,
that and all that sort of thing. They will come right up to you. Those things are not scared of you,
nah.
and it's
It's
like, hey, yeah, pay attention and
pay,
look
pay
out.
attention. It's not a jump for the faint-hearted, and it's not as glamorous as what that TikToker, lovely lady, jumped on there and said, "Yeah, it's 200,000 a year." I'm yet to meet somebody that's getting that kind of money. So, no, it's not as glamorous. I see a lot of backpackers that love to come and do
Mm,
traffic control, and the biggest pet peeve that I thought was common sense that I've come across is if you're a greenie, and they usually tell you this in training, that you'll get the support of a crew leader. You won't be thrown in the deep end by yourself as soon as you go out. You'll be
the
put with
crew leader
somebody
won't, but
more
the
and more
company will try.
experienced.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they tell you that through training. You'll be with somebody more experienced. And some of the companies I've worked for, and I've watched greenies come into the
Mm-hmm.
field of traffic control
Mm-hmm.
first day on the job, and they've just been sent out by themselves.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
God, that is the most number one, is the most stupidest thing a company could do. It opens them up to duty of care breaches, because a company has a duty of care to not only themselves and their other employees in the office, but to you as well. And that
Mm.
comes from placing you with somebody that's experienced, not just putting you in the field with no experience and going, oh, just wing it, because that's the quickest way. If you feel unsafe and you feel that you don't have the appropriate supervision on your site, say something. If you don't have a crew leader or
Absolutely.
someone
Yeah.
experienced, say something. Do not stay quiet. Do not say, oh, well, I'm going to lose my job if I speak up. Say something. Say, I don't feel safe. This is my first day on the job. I don't want to go out by myself. I want to be with somebody who's experienced,
Mm.
especially
Yeah.
for those backpackers out there. Speak up and say something. Here in Australia, you can't lose a job by speaking up. Well, you can, but don't do that, because you will kill yourself on our roads.
Mm.
It's not a job where you can just wing it. There's a permit, there's a TGS to follow. And if you go out and you do the wrong thing, not only are you putting your life at risk, but the company's duty of care, your own duty of care, the client's duty of care. There's so many breaches that are
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
And there's a new thing that's just been brought in over the last few years called the psychosocial regulations and
Mm-hmm.
legislations.
Yeah.
Um, it plays a big factor in traffic control because it talks about the mental health and well-being of all employees. And what that does is if you're doing something that is placing that employee under a stressful situation and just not caring or not giving a flying fuck, you're going to find yourself in court explaining to a judge why you thought that someone's mental health and well-being and duty of care was not your primary sort of thought at the top of your head when you place them in the field. And
Yeah.
if you place somebody in the field, you are breaching, and they're not trained, they're unsupervised. You are breaching duty of care. You're breaching the psychosocial and probably a bunch of other um, contracts as well. Because I'm sure in a contract between client and company, it will state that we want a senior supervisor on all jobs. Now, that's not the client supervisor. That
Mm,
is a
mm,
supervisor from the traffic control company for that job. That
yeah.
being of an experienced crew leader. So from WA, that it is the most primary thing that you need to be focused on. Understand a bit of the legislation when you go into these jobs. You know, no one loves sitting down reading policies, but it's good to
Mm,
educate yourself on the Australian law and especially the work health safety law when you're going into these types of jobs.
absolutely. And not only that, there are a lot of companies out there that will try to get away with underpaying you too.
Mm,
Um, it's always a good idea to research what your state's minimum wage for any job is, not just traffic control, because know your rights, people, know what you're worth.
yeah.
But I was going to say, in your state, do they have road occupancy licenses?
I'm not aware of the road
Okay.
occupancy licenses. Like, are you talking driver's licenses or?
No, so it's a bit like a permit for working on state roads rather
Oh,
than
so we've got
council
something
roads.
similar to that. It's
Yeah.
like a main roads permit, and if you're working in a certain council, usually you'll have a council permit, and then there's planning department permits and all that sort of stuff as well.
All right.
So it's kind
Yeah.
of like a mixture. But we've got what's called like the main roads permit, and
Mm,
there's a
mm, mm.
certification that comes with that as well that you've got to qualify for as a traffic control company to be able to obtain that work. So if you are working on a Western Power contract, for example, in WA, there'll be a Western Power permit. You'll have a council permit for that area, and you'll obviously
Yep.
have your main
Yep.
roads
Yep.
permit. Everyone on that job obviously has to be Western Power inducted. Some councils require you to do their inductions before you can even
Mm,
be approved to
mm.
even work in the area. So yeah, there's a few little different permits and all that varies from job to job, and that just changes over time, really.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So that's very similar to what we have over here in New
Yeah,
South
it's
Wales
pretty similar, yeah.
called the road occupancy license, which is, so say you have your council roads, which um, over here you don't necessarily have to have inductions with particular councils unless you're going to be working directly with them.
Mm,
Um, but we have road occupancy licenses for excuse me, roads that are run by the Road and Maritime Service, the RMS. So the other night, for example, you were saying about having an experienced crew leader. And I was messaging you throughout this entire ordeal the other night. That 16-hour shift I pulled. We were working under what's called an emergency ROL, which has a totally different structure to a normal road occupancy license. And this was something that I think an inexperienced crew leader, somebody that has sort of just been given their crew leader license equivalent in whatever state you're working in, and then thrown into a ute and sent out onto the road, wouldn't have known how to do. Because a lot of the time with that sort of thing, they're like, "Oh, just log on to the portal and put your license, your permit number, license number in at the thing, and then just press submit, and you're pretty much right to go." Well, in this case, the emergency one was I think my boss called me previously and went, do you have the traffic management center's phone number? And I'm like, yes, I am that old school that I still remember ringing on the ROL. That was the phrase we used to say. You'd have to call on the ROL rather than just activate it,
Yeah.
because back in the old days of traffic control, we actually had to call the traffic management center and say, hey, look, this is ROL number 4378006. We're activating it for XYZ street. We're going to be taking out the left lane. So that is the importance of having an experienced crew leader,
Mm.
someone that actually, because say in that
Someone that
instance,
understands that
yeah,
process.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Say in that instance, if they had sent a complete greenie out, someone that had only just received their traffic control tickets, well, the job would have been screwed, and there would have been tens of thousands of dollars worth of fines being handed out because this person just doesn't know how to deal with that kind of thing.
Yeah. 100%. 100% agree. It's one of those situations where you got to speak up.
Mm.
Speak up
Hmm.
if you feel that you're not understanding the TGS or understanding what your job is for the day
Yeah,
or
yeah,
anything like that. There is no shame in speaking up and saying, "Hey, I can't do this." If you don't speak up and you go out there and you hurt yourself or somebody else, it's all going to
mm.
backfire on you anyway. Um, Having that experience there, someone that understands those laws and processes and procedures that are in place to be able to help the client along, because sometimes you even get the client that says, "Hey, do you know something about XYZ? Do you know what we're doing?" They sometimes don't even know what's going on until you get there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a case of having that experienced person there, and if you turn up unexperienced and you say to the client, "Well, I don't know what's going on. I'm just waiting to see what you
Mm.
guys are
Yeah.
doing." It's like, it doesn't look good on the company, it doesn't look good on you. It's creates a whole can of worms. So,
Ah, that was the other thing. Another example from the other night that um you've mentioned, going up and actually talking to the client. Well,
mm,
that is something that an inexperienced crew leader wouldn't think to do.
mhm,
Even if you've been given your TGS, which in this case, the other night I was not. I was working off a TGS that I had to write, and so yeah, that was fun.
yeah, that would have been
Uh,
fun. Can the
uh,
planning department please approve this section that I have adjusted?
yeah, exactly, exactly. But under an emergency job, there are slightly different rules.
That's it.
But I pulled up there. The first thing I did, I had an offsider with me as well, and she was new, so she was like, "Oh, what are we going to do?" And I was like, "Well, the very first thing that we're going to do is talk to these guys. You see the ones that are parked up in the van over there? They might actually have an idea as to what's going on. So the first thing we're going to do is go and chat to them, and then we're going to figure out what we're going to do."
Yeah. And that's somebody with the experience, like yourself, that has that understanding of how to deal with those situations. An example that we had over here just recently of a situation where two inexperienced traffic controllers went out. They're just doing a basic pool lift. You would think that's a pretty easy job. It's a pool lift that's a
Mm.
client's going
Yep,
and
yep.
dropping off a swimming pool into someone's backyard. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be given the TGS plan. Hey, these streets need blocked off. You need to put detours here, here, and here. Well,
Yep.
turns out, so I ended up going out to this site from a work health safety side of it, and
Mm.
the site was set up incorrectly. The reason we got called out was because the traffic controller had been assaulted, and not
What?
only assaulted, the residents of the home that was within the traffic
Mm.
control
Mm.
detour area,
Yep, yep, yep.
she decided to use her vehicle to try and run down one of the traffic controllers as well. So I won't mention the company names or who was involved, but yeah, she was assaulted where the police got involved. And basically, because the video footage that was recorded from across the road from a surveillance camera, it
Yep,
was
yep.
good. It captured the whole incident exactly how she said it, but then it came down to what the police call burden of proof. Like they only had
Yeah.
certain angles that they
Mm.
could use to actually capture that. And had there been an experienced traffic controller in that situation, when the other resident came down from downstairs and started having a go at the traffic controller, it could have been de-escalated with de-escalation methods, and it may not have
Yeah.
escalated to the
Exactly.
level it got
Mm.
to. But they're the situations you can find yourself in not having somebody experienced there, because an experienced traffic controller will understand how to deal with the public, how to de-escalate already heightened
Yep.
situation,
That's
because
right.
no one likes being stuck within a zone that they can't get out of, or have to wait for cranes and moving traffic to move out the way while the clients are working in the area. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it becomes dangerous very, very quickly. So
It can
always
do.
speak
Yeah.
up. You know, it's the same thing when you're out on the mine site. If you feel unsafe about a job, call a stop work. Hey, I feel unsafe. Hey, this, I don't know what we're doing here. This is not right. I'm out of my depths. Speak up. You know, out on site, you've got your take fives and your full 360s that you can do.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
where you take five, do a full 360, have a look around. Um, you know, it's the same. You implement the same methods when you're working at home. You know, do a take five, check your surrounding areas, and if you feel unsafe on a job, speak up. Make sure you're
Yeah.
with somebody
Yeah.
experienced. Don't just let the company go, hey, we're going to throw you out in the field by yourself. We know it's your first day on the job, off you go, because the duty of care is automatically breached the second they do that, and they'll find themselves in a court situation or a workers' comp situation. So, and that falls under multiple levels. And later on in the future podcasts, I've already reached out. We're going to have some work health safety inspectors come out on the podcast as well. So they're actually retiring.
Yeah.
They can't speak
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
they're actively working at the moment, but they are in the midst of retiring, and they're going to
Mm.
come on our podcast and talk about the life as an inspector of work health safety, which will be amazing. Give insight to the back end of work when we put a complaint in, and how that process works, what sort of situations they've found themselves in, and how to, as an employee, keep yourself safe from finding yourself in those situations. You know,
Yeah. That's right.
it's a dangerous industry. The construction industry is a dangerous industry. You're dealing with heavy machinery that can't stop on a dime.
Mm.
So,
Mm. Mm.
you know, speak up if you feel unsafe.
And it's not just dealing with the heavy machinery, it's also dealing with people, and people are extremely unpredictable.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
because we, as the traffic control, we are the absolute face of the construction site. We are the first and last people that, say, drivers, local residents, um, any of that stuff, we are the first and last people that those people are going to see. So we are the ones that are likely to cop things like abuse and violence. Um, and
Karen comes out of the woodworks throwing the old finger, you know. You wouldn't think a 70, 80-year-old grandma in a vehicle is going to cop, you know, give you any abuse. But I tell you what, most of the abuse I copped in traffic control came from the elderly.
uh,
They're just as
I,
bad as the younger generation.
I'll tell you what, those people haven't lived that long because they don't know how to throw down, all right?
Oh, you know, sometimes you laugh at some of the situations, you know, you wouldn't expect an 80-year-old to be popping the middle finger at you, and you're just sitting there going, "Did she really just do that?" Like, so it's not, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. You know, it's not all doom and gloom. There is some
Absolutely.
fun times in traffic control, especially your crew. Don't just go
Mm,
into a
mm.
crew and stay quiet. You know, talk with them, get to know them. There's a time and a place to be serious, and when to joke around. But if you're with a good crew, you'll have a good laugh while you're doing the job, and that makes the time go a lot quicker than just staying quiet and, you know, your mental health draining out the window because your mind's just off with the fairies.
It is incredibly important to be able to have a laugh with your crew members because, let's say, our job, traffic control especially, is so versatile that we have traffic controllers who, like you have worked on the mines, for example. I wouldn't know what the fuck mine life was like. I've never been near a mine, but
Ugh,
we have
mines are intense.
we've got traffic controllers who have who've been sent out to car accident sites where people have died.
Yep.
And it's extremely important to be able to debrief with a crew that you know well and you can have a laugh with.
Yeah, 100%. And it's some companies also have this. I think all companies should have it. Is a drug zero policy. It means no drugs, no alcohol, like before your shift, or while on shift. I reckon
Mm,
they need to
mm.
roll that all over. You know, they're already doing it in the mines. You get drug tested before you go out, and still somehow the drugs make it out onto the mines, and people think they're not going to get caught, but you will get caught.
You'll get
Uh,
caught. Yeah.
yeah, mine site life is intense. Like people go, oh well, I'll just do traffic control out on the mines. It's almost like saying that you can climb Mount Everest
Mm,
when
mm.
you've even gone and bought the equipment to climb it. You're dealing in extreme elements here in WA, and I'm sure it's the same in the eastern states. When you're out in the outback, it is 10 times hotter. If it is like 20, 30 degrees in Perth or in
Mm.
Australia,
Yeah.
it is going to be 40, 50 degrees out in the outback.
Yeah.
Now, when it rains in the outback, we're not talking like Perth rain, Australia rain, Sydney rain. We are
No.
talking like you are in the middle of a tornado type rain and it is bucketing down. When it rains, it comes down and it stops work. There is different policies and procedures that are in place out there. You will do take fives. You will constantly do your JHAs.
Mm, mm.
You're up at ridiculous hour of the morning. So all right, so mine site life, it is quite intense. How it usually starts off with you do your pre-medical, you've applied for the job, and you're like, oh yeah, this is a good fit for me. The main Before we get into all that, the main tickets you probably want to have before you're even applying for a FIFO job is go get your white card, go get your driver's license. It's good if you can get yourself a HR license, always handy. Grab yourself your first aid certificate. Um, and if you can get some other little civil constructions, a Cert 3 in civil construction is usually a good place to go get your basic understanding of heavy machinery and how that's going to work. Usually, depending on the course, you could be doing dump truck, water cart, and I don't know, bobcat or something like that. Fire extinguisher course is always a good one to have up your sleeve as well. And you get yourself a really good TA job with that. But working on the mines, you'll get out there, usually land either morning or afternoon, depending on who your flights with. And your first morning shift, sometimes you're up at 4:30 because they want you to be out on the bus by 5:30. The crib will usually open up an hour and a half before shifts start. So they understand people want to get up, go to the gym. Personally, for me, um, I got up about 3:30, 4 o'clock because I wanted to have a shower, get up, get ready, wake up, go have my breakfast where I wasn't rushed off my feet. So up at 3:30, 4 o'clock, get ready, have my shower, and go to crib. And then I've got about 40 minutes to probably have my crib, which is morning breakfast, which is all displayed out for you. It's already ready to go. Pick up your plate, go in there. The earlier you are, the better it is because if you wait till everybody else is up and running around, you are quite literally going to be standing in a line with everybody else and probably only get about 10 minutes to have something to eat and drink. So yeah, getting up early, time management. When you get on the bus, it's still nighttime. You're still looking up and it's dark. You're on the bus, sitting on the bus by 5:30, and you're probably on site by 6. Now, the sunrise on a mine site is not the same time as what the sunrise might be in Perth or Sydney or wherever. It very much varies depending on your location. The weather as well is intense. So when it's cold, it's really cold. So being prepared, taking a couple of work jumpers at a high vis and a beanie, and when it's dusty as well, you want to make sure you got a face mask for a dust shield or something.
Absolutely. I've always got a go bag ready in the ute, and summer, winter, whatever. I've got
It's ready to go.
a jacket
That's
in
it.
there. I've got raincoat in there. I've got this. You mentioned the face mask. I've got this wonderful little garment called a schmog, which
Oh yeah,
is good
love a
for
little.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it
that's good
definitely
for
works.
dust and
Having that
everything.
to
It's
keeping
fucking
the dust
fantastic.
out, and I'm not
Yeah.
talking like a dust mask like your ones you see with the surgical. Like there's actually workforce dust masks where it looks
Mm.
like face shield that goes around like a, almost like a balaclava around your mouth type thing, and it goes
Yeah.
over your nose. And go into any of your local workshops, your workforce shops, and they'll show you what I'm
Mm,
talking
mm.
about. But then
And
you'll get
like,
onto site, you'll blow into the bag. So you get off the bus, put on your safety glasses, um, go in, blow in the bag, write down your name and sign it off to say you've done it, sign on to all your
mm,
permits, and you'll be lucky if you get, say, 5 to 15 minutes to talk with your crewmates. Get to know people when you're out there, socialise.
yeah, yeah.
If you're new on site and you don't know who your team is, just talk with people next to you on the bus. Everyone's usually really friendly. No one's going to bite your head off out there. Everyone treats everyone like family, because when you're doing FIFO, that is essentially, you will see them more than your own
Mm,
family.
yeah,
Most
yeah.
times you're doing an 8-6 or a 2-2 or a 2-1. Now, if you're doing 2-1, you're going to spend more time with your workmates than what you are your wife or anyone at home. So you want to treat everyone like they're your brother, your sister, watching their back while they watch your back, because 9 times out of 10, they'll watch your back if you're watching their back. So be
Mm,
approachable, engage, socialize, build that camaraderie between your team, because it's always good having those connections and, talking with people. Safety, even talking with the safety bloke.
it's
Safety's big out there. They are
yeah,
so
it
big
is.
out on a mine site about safety. You'll do your take fives. They'll
Mm,
want to see
mm,
different take five descriptions. If you're putting the same thing every day, they're going to be like, you're not even bothering, and they'll pull
mm.
you up on it. So just being aware, it's not all fun and games and big dollars out on the mines, even though the big money is there. It's about safety. It's the biggest thing. And
And
I am
mm,
personally sick of companies preaching safety, but then they sack the
mhm,
person that talks about it. It
yeah,
makes no sense to me. It's like, why preach about it if you're not going to do anything about it? Why have a compliance officer if you don't want to be compliant? Because if your company kills somebody, I can tell you now, coroner's court's not a fun place to be, and you
no,
can now go for industrial manslaughter.
mhm,
So why not just listen to what your safety blokes are telling you? Stop thinking, oh, I've done this for 20 years and you're only here to tick a box. Like, we didn't study for 2 years, and those that are doing diplomas and doctorates and all didn't study for 4 to 5 years to get them. For you to turn around and treat us like we're just a piece of crap on the end of your shoe and you're here to tick a box, because I can tell you now there is a movement within the work health safety field of people standing up to bosses saying, I will no longer just tick your box. It is, if you're going to put people in danger, I'm not going to sit
yeah,
here and tell you, oh, pat you on the bum and tell you
mm,
being a good boy. It's no, you're breaching compliance. No, you're putting this person at risk, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that are going to explain it to the police and the client and the coroner's court and the judge as to why
mhm,
we didn't
mhm,
step in and do something. We can't just turn around and go, oh, well, the boss just told me to tick a box. It doesn't work like that. So
yeah,
just speak up. When you're out on site, you're unsafe, you want to know more, speak up, say something. Hey, I want to know more about my job description. Can you tell me a bit more? This is the first time out here. Just speak up. No one's going to bite your head off for it. And they'll put you with somebody and you'll sit in a dicky seat until you get the grasp of the job. And they might do that for a couple of weeks. A good company will do that for a good couple of weeks, just
you
till you understand your
mm,
job.
you might have to explain what a dicky seat is.
So the dicky seat is you sitting in what we call here in the city your local passenger seat, but in a one of those big Komatsu trucks, one of the big dump trucks or a Moxie truck, you'll sit in the Dixie
Mhm,
seat, which is a second seat like the driver's seat with a seat belt. And you'll just sit there
yeah,
and you'll
yeah,
watch what the driver does, an experienced driver that's been
mm,
doing the job for some time. 9 times out of 10, you'll be put with somebody that has had the last 10 years, 8 years, 5 years worth of experience on that same site. And they'll drive around with you for 2 weeks, for the
yeah,
first
yeah,
couple of shifts even, just showing you how the machine works, what they do, what the protocols are, what the calls on the radio is, all that kind of stuff. So
mm,
you never have to be worried about your job. It's very daunting and very what's the word I'm looking for? It can be confronting, first time on the FIFO side, but you slowly, after a first couple of shifts, start to get the grasp of everything. You become what they call robotic. You're doing the same thing day in, day out. It's just the same shit, different day. But you'll grasp it after a week. You'll find
Mm.
yourself constantly, your body clock changes. So just being aware of your mental health, be aware of your job, take notes, ask questions.
And this is why you mentioned doing things like take fives and whatnot before. Say in very isolated jobs. Uh, take my experience, for example. I've been on some projects where you're kind of far from civilization. You're staying out there, that kind of thing. You don't really have any teammates or anything. It's just you and the contractor you're working with.
Yeah.
Um, those kind of things are important for two reasons. The first reason is that um, your your company needs that record. But the second reason, and I found this to be the most important reason, is that it's actually really good for your mental health to
Mm,
sit down and write out what your plan is going to be every day. It's
yeah.
like routine, say in your experience, Swag, um, on the mine sites, having that routine in place, doing that same thing every day, that robotic action is, you don't realize it at the time, but it's so phenomenal for your mental health that,
Mm.
um,
Don't ever
yeah.
feel like you're isolated. Yeah, you find yourself, and you'll catch yourself doing it. You're like, oh, I can't become robotic. It'll never happen to me. And it will.
Mm,
You just don't know it's happening until you actually stop and think and go, oh, damn, Swagman was right. I am becoming robotic. It's the same routine. Your body's waking up before your alarm's going off because you have to wake up. So
yeah.
you get up and you find yourself doing the exact same thing every day. So socializing with your mates, socializing with your team, your family
Hmm.
back
Hmm.
home. Don't allow the job to overcome your family life. Speaking with your loved ones after work, take the time to spend 10, 15 minutes. You are doing 12 to 14
Yeah.
hour
Yeah.
shifts. Like, these are long shifts. This is not the city where you will be doing, oh, I'm just going to work for a couple of hours and that'll be it. You are doing 12 to 14-hour long shifts. Sometimes you'll get
Hmm.
lucky and the
Yeah.
site will be really close to camp, and sometimes it will be an hour and a half, if not longer, away from camp to site. So mental health, interacting with the family back home,
Hmm.
is highly important. And if you feel that you're not up to the job, that you need more training, more understanding, then speak up, speak to your team. Hey, I need more understanding
Yeah.
on this Moxie truck. Oh, I need
Mm,
more
mm, mm.
understanding on the Bobcat. This crane doesn't work the same as the one I'm used to. Can you show me how this one might work? They're
Yeah.
not going to sack you over it, because when you're out on the mines, it's a bit different to city, because
Mm,
they've
mm.
spent close to, probably, if not $1,500 on your medical, between getting
Yeah.
you ready to go on site. To send you home cost them money, and then they've wasted 1,500 sending you out to site. And
Because
you
that
might go,
there
oh, well,
is.
that doesn't matter. It's only
Mm,
1,500. They've got the
mm.
money. I can tell you now, when you're the client usually working for Rio Tinto, FMG, or any of those big companies out
Yep.
there,
Yep.
you know, money is everything. So, speak
Yeah.
up, say
You,
something.
you don't get rich by wasting money.
That's it. So they're more likely to help you, and as long as you have an understanding of some sorts of your job when you go there, lying on your resume for a FIFO job is probably not the way to do it, because they'll go, well, on your resume it says you can do X, Y, Z. So you better understand X, Y, Z when you're out there, because if you're gonna lie on your resume, make sure you understand the machines that they might throw you in. Like,
Yeah,
don't go out there
exactly.
and go, oh, I've got all the experience. I've got 2 years experience, because within the first 15 seconds, I'll be able to figure out whether you're green or whether you've got experience just by
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
looking at
Hmm.
your truck. So there's no point going, I've had 2 years on a Moxie truck, getting in it, and we can see that you've got some experience, but not as experienced as what you make out to be, just by the way you reverse up to the truck. If we're constantly hearing left hand down, we know that you're not experienced.
Hmm. And
Communication's big.
that's normally the traffic controller yelling that to you through the radio. I said, left hand down. Why are you doing the right hand? No, 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 stop, 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 stop.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. It's when you're working in the city, the rules are a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of companies and bosses will treat you a bit different, but a lot of that is coming to an end now. Days are the gone where the bosses can sit there and go, "Hey, fat fuck, get over there and get back to your job. Hey, fucking dickhead, go back over there and do your
Yep.
job." That is slowly getting stamped out. It's still out there.
Mm,
Don't get me
mm.
wrong. There's still people out there and workmates that'll belittle you and try and, what they call, what's the word I'm looking for? They're just trying to initiate you. You're an initiation to the work crew. That's slowly
Mm,
getting phased out because of this whole new psychosocial duty of care, mental health awareness. I advocate mental health big time because I've seen too many people in traffic control and the mine sites die because of mental health reasons.
absolutely, yeah.
It's huge. Keeping your family and work life balance is big. Don't
Mm,
overwork yourself to pay the bills. Don't inundate yourself with credit. Don't go out buying a car, a house, and jet ski and a boat, and then be like, well, my whole wage goes to that, because that will
yeah,
slowly creep up into your mental health and start affecting your work life home balance.
exactly. I mean, traffic and, well, the construction industry as a whole is, well, it's to paraphrase a line from the great Bliss and Esso, um, you never know when you're going to see the success again. That
Mm,
means, say, for example, you could work a 50-hour week this week. You might not see another 50-hour week for
yeah,
a long time. Don't go don't go like, oh yeah, shit, yeah, I'm gonna go and buy a car and finance. I'm gonna go and put all this shit on afterpay. I'm gonna, this and that.
ziv money.
You
Yeah,
the odds of you having that same income every week are low.
slim.
So
Yeah.
budget correctly. All
Unless you
right.
got that full time contract in FIFO or a full time contract at all in any job, don't do it. Even part time, don't do it because it can dry up just like that.
Hmm.
Your
Yeah.
paychecks are pretty big on some weeks and pretty low on other weeks. So don't think, oh yeah, got me first big paycheck. It's going to be like that all the time, because there will be a drop off where the work just dries up. A contract can quite easily come to an end with a company if the
Yes.
client, that company might go, oh well, we have got work with this client for the next 2 years, and
Mm,
then that
mm.
company does something to breach that contract, and
Yeah.
the company's obviously giving you part-time, full-time hours. Well, if there's nothing the company can do, because
Uh,
that
mm.
job's gone now, they've lost that contract. The contract's been null and void because they've breached the client contract.
Yeah, and
So you wary.
it's not only breaches that bring contracts to an end. Say if you're like me,
Delays.
you live in the city, for example, and you're working on a contract. Say I'll use one that's specifically Sydney, the M6, for
Yeah.
example. Um, there's going to be a point in time, and you as an employee of a company that works for this project is going to have to plan for this. There's going to be a point in time when that project comes to an end, it's finished,
Mm,
and you're not always going to be working the 12-hour days that project gave you.
yeah, 100%. So it's good to plan out your budgets at home. Don't go, throwing yourself in the deep end, buying all the flashy stuff because you're like, oh well, I've got the goods now, because it very quickly comes to an end in traffic control. Very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what have we been? It's a vital, a very
Mm-hmm.
up and down industry. So whether you're in construction, whether you're in traffic control more so, whether you're in FIFO, unless you've got a full time contract, don't be going and doing stupid shit.
Mm. Yeah.
Just
Uh,
keep on the
probably
same track.
probably don't go doing don't go doing stupid shit whether you're on a full-time contract or not.
Yeah. Unless you've been in the job for a good couple of years, then by all means go ahead and do it. Be smart with your money.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
I mean, if you're like me, for example, and you've just about got a minimum wage each week, yeah, sure, go and plan to do stuff like that, but
yeah. Cash
don't
is
be silly.
king. Cash is
Geez,
king. Go
yeah,
the
exactly.
cash.
I mean, especially if you're going to be, that's another thing. That's another
Oh,
thing. Not all businesses, say if you're working rurally, for example, not all businesses are going to have AFPOS.
100%.
And as a traffic controller or as someone who's going to be working on the road quite regularly, get used to the servo lunch.
Yes. Bring a packed lunch. Bring an
Yes.
esky
Yep.
with
Yep.
ice
Yep.
in it with your lunch in it. Make sure you've got a 5 litre bottle of water at least. You can get those
Mm-hmm.
5 litre,
Mm-hmm.
tubs of water. Bring that with you. They
Yep.
usually got a
Yep.
little screw on cup on the top of it. Get yourself one of those. Pack yourself a decent lunch. Because your 5 hour day could very easily turn into a 12-hour day.
All it takes is one punctured gas main, and suddenly everyone's there until tomorrow morning.
Exactly right.
Take it,
So,
take it from someone who works for a company that subcontracts to the gas company.
yeah, that's it, 100%. Alrighty.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna make that the end of our talk about our experiences.
Yep.
I think you
It's
had
been
something.
it's been good.
Yeah, Swagman, you had something else you wanted to say about Quentin, didn't you?
Yeah, so I'll jump into that in a sec. But
Mm-hmm.
while we've got everyone's attention, if you're not already following us on Facebook, jump on our Facebook page in the zone, Traffic Controllers Toolbox. If you can't find it, let us know. We'll be able to help you. But we've also got
Mm.
Instagram, we've
Yeah.
got iHeartRadio, we've got Spotify, and we've got the GoFundMe as well. So if you want to
Mm.
help us grow, help us expand, jump onto our Facebook page. You'll see all the links on there. Again, our sponsor being Swag HQ, Swag Headquarters. It's run by a good friend of mine named Quinton. If you're an entrepreneur, he can help you with content creation, small businesses, helping you develop your small business into something of a big business. Someone with a goal, anyone with a goal, jump
Yeah,
onto
that's right.
Swag Headquarters, Swag HQ. You can see their posts on our Facebook page in the zone, the Traffic Controllers Toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
It's been great having everybody on here and listening to this podcast today as well. Other sponsors we got obviously is iHeartRadio as well. Jumping on there, subscribe as well to the Daily Beehive. If you're someone with a goal, jump on that. Just put your email in, and you'll get a daily subscription come to your email
Yeah, there'll
address.
be a link in the show notes
That's it. Link
and
in
on
the
our
show
Facebook
notes.
page and Instagram page too.
I've managed to get some QR codes going, so you can print those out,
Mm-hmm.
and you can take them to your workplace, chuck them up on your car, chuck them on in your lunchrooms, community notice boards. Help us help you. This is a show for you, not just us. We're going to have special guests come out and tell us their experience. We're going to have people from the FIFO industry, people from work health safety. We're going to have people from all sorts of different industries come on to the show. It's going to be great. We've got a great lineup in the coming weeks. And we're going to cover everything from everyday life. It's not always going to be about construction and traffic control, but everyday life. So jump in, tune in for our next podcast where we're probably going to get in. We've got an election coming up soon. That might be great. We
Yes,
might touch on
that'll be
that. And
fun.
that's going to be an awesome little segment right there. And at some point, we'd love to be in the situation where we can give back to you guys and be running little competitions, and we'll be doing live feeds where you'll be able to call into the show and you can win some prizes and some merchandise as well. So we're hoping that we can grow this community. So not only to help us, give you a platform to voice your concerns as well. As I
Yeah,
said, we've
yeah.
had a massive, massive response in a space of not even a week.
Mm-hmm.
With again 220 followers and 113 likes just on our Facebook page. Man, it's been great having all of you here today. It's been great doing this podcast. I've enjoyed it. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I
I've
hope you've
enjoyed it.
enjoyed the content we've given. It's been a bit of trial and error and just on the fly today. So we hope you've had a
What,
great time with our podcast.
what a learning curve this has been. It's been
I
so much
know.
fun.
It's amazing. It has been
And
amazing.
I seriously cannot wait for next week's episode either. Which yeah.
It's going to be great. The lineup we've got coming up, yeah, I'm excited. I hope you are all excited. I'm the Swag Man, and that's Cranky. Hope to see you guys
That's
next
it.
time. Join us up here in the zone, Traffic Controllers Toolbox.
In the Zone, the Traffic Controllers Toolbox. Thank you very much for listening, and a very special thank you again to all of our sponsors and to those who have gotten onto our GoFundMe, which is another thing you can find on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Mind you, if you're going to be searching for In the Zone, the Traffic Controllers Toolbox, there is a colon in there. Don't be disgusting, Swag Man. Don't look at me like that. Anyway, take it easy, everyone. Be safe out there. That's the most important
Stay
thing.
safe.
And drive safely. We are Audi 3000. Bye.
Take it easy. Bye.